Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, Luann Nigara. Luann has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. Luann brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. Thanks tons for joining me. If you are actually listening to me in real time today, June 21st, 2017, and it happens to be before 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, please make a note to join me at 2 o'clock for a Facebook Live flash mob, where I'll be joining forces with Mark McDonough of Tastefully Inspired and Ian Q of House Digital to bring you live coverage of the summer celebration at Kravitz's brand new showroom on the 12th floor of the D&D building in New York City. I'll be doing live interviews with Scott Kravitz and many of the interior designers in attendance. Plus, we'll be giving you a tour of the new showroom so you can see all of the incredible product available for you to specify on your interior design project. So don't miss it. Now, today's show. My guest is Reed Humphrey. He is the president of Alder and Tweed Home Outfitters in Park City, Utah. He runs their family-owned business with his two sisters, and you will learn how through reinvention and a very clear vision of their path, they have niched their business to serve strictly the vacation homeowner who is buying property in Park City, Utah. Reed's parents were the owners of a successful lighting business, and he therefore got his start in the world of interiors at the very young age of 8, when he would travel with his parents to visit suppliers and factories all over the world. These experiences helped Reed to develop a very keen eye and a knowledge for quality. For the past 13 years, Reed has operated the business side of the company, overseeing logistics, strategy, marketing, and human resources. So stay tuned while I tell you a little bit about our sponsor, and I will be right back with Reed Humphrey. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Cherish, and to let you know about this gem of a resource. Cherish, which can be found at www.chairish.com/trade, is the premier online marketplace where design pros just like you can go to source the best vintage decor and furniture. With more than 125,000 curated items for sale, Cherish makes it easy, fun, and fast for you to find stylish pieces at great deals to suit every client and every project. The items are ready to ship, hint, hint, which means no waiting, and Cherish offers a 2-day return policy. Here's some more good stuff. Cherish trade members enjoy special benefits, including cash back on every purchase, white glove delivery, and exclusive concierge service. Sign up for their trade program today at www.cherish.com/trade. Hi, Reed. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, Luann. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, so this is going to be yet another interview where we are talking with somebody who's part of a family-run business. And, of course, everybody who's a loyal listener knows that we've got Kravitz Inc. at the top of that list. They are third-generation business Kravitz, and the generation now that runs it is, a set of a couple of brothers and a sister that are running it. And that's sort of about what we're looking at here. Your company, Alder and Tweed, is an interior design firm, as I said in the introduction, in Park City, Utah, and you are running this company with your two sisters. And so there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that we're going to pull apart, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, let's just give us a couple of minutes on, because you and your sisters didn't start it as an interior design firm. You started it as a retail furniture showroom. So just, we don't have to go back all the way down memory lane, but give us a little synopsis of that and get us up to speed on the firm that is the design firm now.
Sure. So absolutely. So we are family owned, as you mentioned, and there's two sisters involved. My parents are also involved, and they're vested, and also a brother is involved. And so, we started actually in Salt Lake City. We tried to have a retail store, and we were trying to make the retail thing work, and our timing was just really bad. And so, we opened right around when the recession hit. And we decided that it just wasn't working, but we kind of saw this one bright spot. We saw these customers from Park City coming down to Salt Lake, and they were trying to furnish their vacation homes, and they would buy these brand new beautiful homes, and they wouldn't have any furniture in them. And so we said, hey, we've got to reinvent ourselves because what's happening isn't working for us. And we said, well, why don't we just focus on that market? Why don't we focus on the vacation home buyer? And so, literally within a week, we closed our doors down there and we moved up to Park City, and we started targeting that vacation home buyers and finding ways just to make it easier for people who had their primary residence in New York or Florida or Texas or wherever it was, and helping them bridge the gap between their primary residence and their vacation home in Park City, and making it easy and on them so they could literally walk in the door and not have to worry about the furniture or the home outfitting. They could just go skiing and enjoy their time, with their family here in Park City.
Okay, so I just have to say, I knew, of course, between our conversation, I'm letting everybody know, and the research I did on you, almost every single thing about what you just said, except this one part. Within 1 week, you decided to close up and move your business. Okay, so Reed, you got to break that down for me, because
Sure.
You just don't close a business in a week. I mean, honestly, I mean, was it a week of 24/7 powwows with all the family members? I mean, that's a huge decision.
Yeah. And you know what? There's a book I really enjoy reading called Good to Great, and it talked about making, how great companies, they make bold decisions and they just go with it. And we said, hey, you know what? We're going to close the doors. We found literally someone to come in and buy all our inventory in one haul. And we started with branding and marketing materials, and we found an office in Park City, and we just said, hey, if we're going to be focusing on vacation homes in Park City, we've got to be up there all the time. And we literally made that move probably in about a week's time. Now, obviously, there were some loose ends we tied up that took a little bit longer, but we just thought, hey, we got to make a bold decision here. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness. I am stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. And the thing is, I'm in awe, okay, because I love it. But again, I have to say, take me through it a little bit, because, you have two sisters, a set of parents, your brother. You have a lot of people involved in this decision. And I hear and I respect what you just said, Reed, good to great companies make bold decisions. That's not lost on me. But I only have my husband and my cousin as my partners. And there's sometimes that I'm just like for 6 months going, oh my God, let's start a podcast. Would you let's go.
Well, and to be honest, looking back, if I knew what the road was going to be to get to this point, I probably wouldn't do it again. Because it was a difficult process. But I think, at the time we were younger, and, I didn't have any children or, anybody who depended on me. And I think when you're younger, you can kind of make, a little bit more brash decisions like that. And it worked out for us. But
and
again,
was it really a thing
road.
that when whoever had the idea, everybody just went, hey, and nobody gave pushback and nobody said, you're out of your mind, and I'm like saying no for my percentage share? Or it just really, everybody just saw the vision? Look, it's a great vision, and obviously it's worked out. So, I mean, sometimes when something is just such a great idea, but again, you're talking about not only the dynamic of partnership, but by the dynamic of family partnership.
Yep. I don't want to say we all jumped on board at once, because we are family and we're a little bit more bold and blunt with each other.
Yes. There's no having to be polite about that dumb idea he just said.
Exactly. We do get that a lot. But we realized we all knew we had to make a change. And so, and we realized that it needed to happen fast. And so we got in a room and we hashed it out, and we made it work. Okay. I think the best businesses or the best business decisions come when people argue with each other and kind of hash it out And, eventually you land on, on good ideas and a good business plan.
I agree. I you know what? I think I can visualize it a little bit easier now, because what you just said in there was we all knew something had to happen. So it wasn't like the current business was following along in status quo, and somebody could have logically said, why are we rocking the apple cart here? Everything's fine. So you all had agreement that something had to happen. And then I can see the discussion going along the lines like, well, okay, if you don't love this idea, what's your idea? And then everybody coming back to, well, this one. Okay, so I just, had to take a minute to go down that road because
that's a lot to digest, right?
Yes, it truly is. I mean, and I will just do a disclaimer. My partners right away were on board with the podcast. So I used a bad example there because they're going to listen to this and be like, we didn't give you any problem with that. But there have been other things that I will sit there and my husband will ride me for 6 or 8 months. I'll ride him for 6 or 8 months on an idea and be like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Family businesses are always fun.
Yeah. So, and it's like you got to live together. So you can't be, crazy. But of course, that is the dynamic of a family business that makes it harder, because even Billy, who we've been partners with for 30 years, I don't say the things to him that I might say, as like you said, bluntly to my husband. You know what I mean? So, okay. So, all right.
But I think at the same time, because you can be so blunt and so open, I think it makes the business better. I think you get a better end product.
Yes, because you don't, at the end of the day, look, and I have to say too, we are, even with my husband and myself, we're always aware to be very respectful, especially when we're disagreeing. Okay, so that's really, really important in a family business for me, and I feel like that's something I would say has contributed to our success of all these years. But I am more free to keep pushing, even if I'm pushing in a nice way. I'm more comfortable to like every day go, okay, can we talk about this again? Because I really think my idea is great. Or can we talk about this again? I really don't like what you want us to do. Whereas with a partner, who is truly not, family related or many, many, many years partner, only a few years, you might feel like you cannot ride this person every day. Like you have to give them a break.
Definitely. That's so true. I totally understand that.
Right. Okay. So that's really interesting. So I love that. I love that great companies make bold decisions. That just is like electric to me, and I love that. Okay. So now the concept is that you guys are there in Salt Lake. How far is the distance from Salt Lake to Park City, Reed?
So we're actually, our retail store was in Salt Lake. When we decided to make that transition, we got a place in Park City. We realized we had to be here. So we are actually in Park City. Right.
But how far away is that?
So the distance is about, my commute is probably about 35 minutes.
Okay.
There's spots of Salt Lake that you can be up to Park City in 20-25 minutes.
Okay. And so it's a new area, but not like 3 hours away. Okay.
No, that's actually the appeal to Park City, is because, Salt Lake is an easy airport to access, and you can be up to Park City once you get to the airport and 30 minutes.
Skis in an hour and a half, right? By the time you park and get changed. Okay. So that part wasn't this huge risk, like we're picking up and we're moving our business 3 hours away. Okay. So now you have this idea, and I like this idea, because somebody else might have said the same idea. Oh, we're going to, develop this concept of full house turnkey outfitting, but we'll do it from here because they still come here. So you pick up, you go to where the business is. And so what happens? How do you start to brand it? How do you start to go about it? At that point, is it just you and your sisters, or do you have other team members that were part of the retail store that went with you to this new endeavor? How did that work?
So at that point, it was myself and my sisters. And, the one thing we wanted to do in terms of branding is we didn't want to be, for lack of a better term, kind of like a Me Too business. And let me explain that. We didn't want to be just another design firm. And so we said, what are we going to do to make ourselves different? And we've kind of talked about this, but what we're going to do is we're going to just focus on vacation homes. And, we are not marketing towards primary residences. We do a few primary residences here and there from clients that we do their vacation home, and they want us to do their primary residence. Yeah. But we just said, hey, you know what? We want to be able to brand ourselves in a different light. And so, in order to do that, we kind of came to the conclusion that there's a number of hurdles in furnishing a vacation home, and that we were going to do things to remove those hurdles. And so from a branding perspective, we really hammered in on those things that are going to make it easier for, a person here in Park City who doesn't really know the local market, who, they're not here all the time. They don't know the local furniture stores, or they don't know who to go to or where to go. And we just wanted to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to worry about knowing that, because you know us, and we're going to take care of all the little details for you. You're going to walk in your house. It's going to be suitcase ready. You're going to hit the slopes.
Wow. Okay. And so what did that meeting look like? Because what you're saying is that you decide to focus on vacation homes. So that was obviously the big impetus. And then you said you talked about branding and how you were going to do that. So and you said you really spent some time, and I love that what you said, that you identified the problems that out of town people have when they come to purchase a home and outfit the home in a different area. So was that, the three of you brainstorming, chalkboarding, and really saying, okay, what are all the problems, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's absolutely. We kind of went through and just determined things that would be difficult or pain points for clients. And we decided that we were going to overcome them. One example is we fly to our clients. So, we realize that, hey, they're not here in Park City. So when we do a furniture presentation, we'll put all our fabrics and, finishes and whatever it is in a suitcase. We'll fly to them and we'll meet with them in their home. And A, it's very convenient for them. But B, it also allows us to see how they live in their own home, and we see how they function and things they like. And it's such a valuable opportunity for us to understand the client. And so, that's one of the things that we will do is we'll fly out to them and just make the process super easy for them.
I like that, but that makes me think of a question. So what happens with that plane ticket? Do you just build it into the consultation presentation fee? Do you consider it marketing and you eat it? Like because you got to think about somebody that's like, wow, I really love this interview. This guy is brilliant, and I have a vacation mecca an hour for me, and what am I putzing around trying to be everything to everybody in my town? Let me identify. So what happens with that, Reed? How do you really approach that within the process of
So we actually don't build a client for that. The way we do it is we don't have your typical showroom. That we have a person there manning it every day, all day, and then we have it filled with furniture, and we have this Main Street Park City. A showroom is extremely expensive. We don't do that. We said, hey, we're going to take the dollars that we would allocate into doing something like that, and we're going to allocate it into flying to our clients. And we said, well, that does two things for us. One, like I mentioned, we get to see the client, how they live and how they function, and kind of different styles and looks they like in their own home. And two, we kind of thought, well, you know what, with the showroom, we kind of, the client is kind of cornered in, sometimes to certain pieces that maybe we're trying to move on our showroom floor. And we said, we don't want to put ourselves in that position where we're trying to, give the client certain things. And so we said, hey, let's take away that variable so that the client can get a completely custom furniture package that meets their every needs. Okay. And so that was kind of our thought process there.
So what you're saying to me is that you three decided from the beginning that airfare over the course of the year, as often as it was needed, would be an operating line expense item. Just like
exactly.
if you okay, so you just said that's it. It's just like you put it under operating expenses or you put it under advertising or marketing, but you built it right into your overall business plan.
Yep.
And then you offer it as a feature to clients who are potentially vetting you. You're saying, this is how we work. We will do this, and we will make the presentation to you in your home, wherever it may be.
Exactly. Now understand that our clients are,
they're different level.
They're spending on the low end, on the really low end, $50,000, and on up from there, up into $1 million plus.
Right. For the home or for your outfitting?
for our outfitting portion of it.
Yeah.
So,
right. The homes are
obviously,
millions, right?
Yeah, obviously we're not dealing with, a client who's spending, $5,000 or $10,000. It just wouldn't make financial sense to be able to fly to them and try to make that work. So.
Right. And so that's a good thing to talk about. So you're not really taking on the project where a woman lives in Park City with her family. Well, she lives in wherever. She lives in New York, and she has a vacation condo in Park City with her husband and 2 kids, and she comes into town and she just wants, new drapes and new carpet and new upholstery. That's not you.
That's definitely not our
no. We're like a new build or a flip that somebody is saying everything in here goes, or I need everything in here put in here, like start me over again.
Yeah, and that's kind of our main business. We do have a few of those, but with stuff like that, obviously we're not flying to them, and they get that and understand that.
Okay, so now tell us, how do you, from brand new? Now you just said you came as a retail showroom, furniture showroom. How do you go into the new niche market and immediately brand and identify yourself to your clients as this complete turnkey package? You don't even go into Park City and start putzing around with, refresh and remodels. You go right to, we're going to do the 50,000 and up package. How do you do that?
Yep. Well, I think the big key, and we've touched on this, is we had a unique message that made ourselves different. And so we took that message, and what we did is we decided that the main point of contact for our client was the real estate agent. And, typically they rely on their real estate agent for everything, because that's really one of the main people they know in town, if not the only person they know in town. And so we just said, hey, let's get to know the real estate agent community, and let's kind of present to them and explain our message to them and how we can really make it easier on their client. And really it also helps the agent as well, because when a client's looking at a new home, the other things they're thinking about are the hassle factor that comes into furnishing it.
How am I going to do this from 3,000 miles away?
Exactly. And so we went to the real estate community and we said, hey, we're going to help you remove that hurdle. Remove one more hurdle that it takes to getting that client to purchase that home. And I think that message really worked with the real estate community. I think they really grabbed onto that and liked that thought and thought it could be really useful for their clients.
Okay, and so how did you exactly go about that? Did you just call them up and say, can I come to you? Me and my sisters want to come to you and take you to lunch. We want to just meet in your showroom. We had a conversation, like nitty gritty. How did you do it?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, we definitely, we took them to lunch. That was one thing. We worked on, having a website that explained that. And, we started an email campaign. We kind of put, a list together of the different realtors in the community. We made sure we had a monthly email campaign. A lot of these real estate, brokerages, they have monthly meetings that you can attend. And so we would, attend these monthly meetings, and we would maybe provide breakfast for them. And then they would allow us to come and present and tell us who we were and what we were doing.
Wow.
And, another thing that we did is once a week in Park City, they've got open houses that the real estate agents are going around and looking at the different inventory on the market. And so we got involved with that. And, we started maybe sponsoring open houses where we would provide maybe some food and stuff like that. And, real estate agents would come into that home. We'd be able to talk to them and get to know them. Or we'll just go around to the different open houses and kind of talk to them and explain our message.
Okay, so I have to say, I think that when most people, especially newer in business, look at a firm like yours and hear a conversation where the minimum project is in the ballpark of 50, and very often the projects are in the hundreds of thousands, if not million, I think they don't always cognitively picture that you still start that business just the way you start an ice cream truck route. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta go out and meet the people.
Sure.
Right? So, okay. And so take me on the curve of, we land in Park City, we start this outreach into the community of realtors. Is it 2 months, 6 months? How long is it before you, A, start to see the clients come in, B, the pipeline, it feels like, hey, we always have a comfortably full pipeline, and C, you're turning profit?
Sure. And to be honest, when we first started, I would say for the first 6 months, the phones were not ringing. And
right. That's what I want to bring out. I want to bring out the reality of, you plopped yourself in a new niche, in a new community. And, just like your clients come into town, they knew nobody. You don't know anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we got to Park City, and, Park City is not a huge town, and there's only so many real estate agents. So, we did everything we could to reach out to those real estate agents, but, at a certain point, there's only so much you can do. And so a lot of times we were in the office just kind of, talking things over and, hoping that the phones were going to ring. Right. To be honest, there was probably a lot of downtime.
Right.
But I would say after about 6 months, a call here came in, a call there came in, and, it was a very nervous 6 months.
Yes, right. That's what I want people to remember. And you know what I mean? Because, look, there are people, I'm sure, listening, your colleagues listening, that really are thinking, I got a vacation area near me. I could do this. But we have to make sure we share the real side of it. You have to have some capital, to weather through this period of beginning, because it's beginning, even if you come from experience, it's beginning a business again, essentially. Yeah,
absolutely. And it always takes time to get clients in the door, and it always takes time to build your clientele. And so, I think we were fortunate that it took us 6 months, to be honest. I think it could have taken longer.
Right.
But, it was just, at the time, it was just our family. And so, we didn't have a bunch of employees that we had to provide for. And so we were able to, tighten things up on our end in our personal lives so that we can make this thing go and so that we can make our capital last longer. But it was definitely a scary thing.
Okay. And I would say, my guess would be that whether or not there were other design opportunities in Park City for people to go and opt for other than yourselves, I would think that the bigger competition would be at this level of luxury interior design, at this level of clientele, of the wealth of this clientele. Very often that homeowner is coming in with their designer from LA or New York or Toronto.
Sure.
I mean, I've been called on, I've gone with my designers that I do the window treatments for on we just sent product to Colorado on a project. Yep. We've flown to Florida to do installation. So I would think at that level, those clients have already often had their primary home designed, so did you run into that where the realtor would be like, yes, I just sold a home, but they have their own designer that they're bringing in from Miami?
Sure. And we do get that. I think, again, it's back to that, what makes us unique.
Solving the problem.
Our thing is like, okay, you could bring your designer in, but are they going to be able to take all the pain of the process out
That's
for
right.
you? Whereas we're going to be your eyes and ears on the ground here in Park City. Our slogan is actually just bring your toothbrush. For everything else, we've got you covered. and to be honest, it's a little bit of a lie because we also supply toothbrushes. So it's but that's kind of our thing, and that's why we thought it was so important that we had to make ourselves unique and different.
Yes.
Because we were going to come up against people who maybe wanted to bring their own designer in, and we still have people who do that.
Sure.
But at the same time, they start weighing their options. They start thinking, hey, these guys, they do great work, and they're going to make it seamless for me.
Right.
And so, it has, I think that's really helped in the sales process.
I definitely can see the value of having you there. There's no question, because no matter how amazing that interior designer is from wherever in the world they're from, it's exactly true. They cannot be there to address every single thing that is happening. But you do have, and thankfully you do have, clients that have strong loyalties to their primary designer. Is any part of your business model ever been the counterpart to a designer out of town, where you would set, maybe the client would say to you, well, I have fabulous so-and-so from Chicago, and I'd love for you to work with them? Or is that just too sticky and icky, and that's not realistic?
I would say we've done a job here and there like that, maybe one or two, but it's definitely not something we've done on a normal basis.
Right. And it's not necessarily even something that you would be like, hey, I would pursue that. Tens of thousands of designers listening, call me if you have a job here. It's not really what you're set up. It's not your primary mission.
No, it's not.
Right. Okay.
So, we prefer not to go that route.
Yeah, no, I can see that because it's just, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing for a designer to have a boots on the ground team that is contract and so forth like that, but another design team is probably a little conflicting.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, all right. So we go from those first 6 months, we start to get some projects, and then what is the primary source of your business still remain the realtors? Because it can't be as much referral based as it is here, because I'm just guessing. In other words, if I do my primary home and I have my circle of friends around me, I'm out to dinner, I'm telling them, but by the time somebody comes in, buys a new place, like you said, they're a stranger, and by the time they get to know the people in the area and happen to be vacationing possibly at the same time, and then they connect, they probably already made arrangements for all their stuff. So how is the realtor network really still your primary source of revenue?
I would say our bread and butter is definitely the realtor network.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, our referral stream has really picked up, and what we found is that people who buy in Park City that are from New York usually travel in the same circles.
So they have friends that are also going to purchase or about to purchase, and they say, and you've got to use, Alder and Tweed.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly. But again, our main source is that real estate community.
Mm-hmm.
And
by now, are you like paying college educations for all of them? I mean, to repay them for getting this business.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's an amazing, way to build a business up. But there, I would think that you're on a regular basis really trying to keep them happy, those realtors.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we really solve a problem for them.
That's
and
true.
I think that helps them. At the end of the day, I mean, their main source of revenue is selling real estate. And so, that's what puts food on the table for them. And if there are things that can help them sell real estate, they want to know about it.
Right. Okay. What you're saying is it makes it a little bit, it's one problem that the realtor has on the close of the sale.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, you think of all the problems that come up in selling a home, whether it be, getting a bank to finance it or all that, getting through the inspection and, this, that, and the other, and also, furnishing it and what's that going to, run and how hard of a process that's going to be. There's all these little problems. And so the more they can remove, the more variables that are involved in that they can take out of the equation to make it simpler, the better for them.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the process. So you have a big company. You have 14 team members plus the 3 of you, and there might be others. I don't know, but that's how many I saw on the website. And so how does it work? It takes the whole team to execute a project, or each of these senior designers are able to be responsible for their own, and then the supporting team members, how does it work?
Sure. So when we get a lead in the door, when someone calls, usually either myself or my sister Heather will speak to them, and we'll just kind of assess their needs and analyze their look and, what they're kind of going for. And then what we'll do is we'll say, okay, you would fit best with this designer or that designer. We'll see who they would mesh best with. And so from there, we would either get on a call or go meet with them and one of the designers from our firm. And also the junior designer who supports that designer. So our staff is such that we have a senior and a junior designer, and they work together as a team.
Okay. And so when you go for that, once the call comes in and you've identified which design team within your team that you'd like to have assigned to this new project, when you say you go out to meet them, is that you and Heather and this senior and junior, or just the senior and junior, or Heather senior and junior? How many people are going?
We like an owner to be involved, from start to finish. I think, one, it puts the client at ease, and two, we take great pride in our company, and it's kind of been this baby that we've built. And so we want to make sure that the level of quality is there and that we're representing ourselves in the right way. And that the client is getting a good end product that represents Alder and Tweed. And so, we like to be involved with those leads. Okay. Are we involved in the day-to-day, the ordering and this, that, and the other? No.
No, that's what your team is there for.
Yeah, exactly. But we definitely have a pulse on each project and what's going on to ensure that the client's going to be happy and we're going to have something that we're proud of and represents Alder and Tweed.
And then, so take us forward then. So now you have had this successful meeting, the client signs on, and let's even go a step further than that. Say the family members are involved in the overall design plan for this client, and then it's finally turned over, or maybe you're not even involved with it. I'm not worried about how the design comes up. But now we're at the point where the design plan has been established, it's been accepted, there's a plan going forward, and it's starting to execute the project. So now we're at the point where we've got our senior designer and our junior designer really just starting the day-to-day of getting this project moving. Sure. And continuing. So what happens then? Do you have weekly meetings with that team? Do you have bi-weekly meetings? How do you guys as partners oversee what each of these teams, because you have several sets of senior and junior teams.
Yep. So typically the junior kind of does the ordering. They do the ordering and processing and following up. That junior and senior designer are meeting on a daily basis and discussing any issues that take place, whether, there's a delay on a frame or, a fabric is no longer, is out of stock or something's discontinued. The senior and junior are talking on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. We meet as a team on a weekly basis. Okay. So we're meeting, as ownership and with our designers and junior designers on a weekly basis and going over each project and, asking, are there any issues we should know about? Are there any concerns you have? And so, weekly we're getting updates. Hey, here's where we're at with that. In addition, something that we just started actually, and this kind of ties back into the fact that we're vacation home designers, we started what's called a client portal. So it's a place that the client can log in, and as we're doing the ordering process and starting to, get lead times back or get estimated delivery times, it's a place where they can see every piece that's going in their home and when that is expected to be received in our warehouse, or if it has been received. So the client can log in and they actually get automated weekly emails that tell them, hey, these pieces came in this week. Also on that portal, they can see their contract they have with us. They can see the design presentation. They can see everything that pertains to their project, so that, whether they're in New York or wherever they're at, they can, have peace of mind that the project's moving forward.
That's great. So, and is that proprietary software, or do you use one of the MyDoma Studio or one of those softwares?
We actually built that.
You have proprietary. Okay. So, so for the firms that are listening that don't have the ability to build their own software, that sounds a lot like the features that you get with, for instance, MyDoma Studio and some of the other softwares out there. But it's terrific, and I understand that because I'm going to tell you, for me, I think it puts the onus on the design team to have their ducks in a row, because you can't not place the order for the sofa for 4 weeks because the client can see darn well that you haven't placed it. Yeah. But, if you are with all your ducks in a row, it makes it easy without 16 phone calls and emails to see that the sofa's placed, lady. It's coming. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So absolutely. I like that. Now, but I have a few questions going back in there. There's 4 on my mind. So one of them is, how is each junior and senior capable of running only one project at a time because it's so involved, or are they actually capable of running multiples at different stages at a time?
They're capable of running multiples at different stages.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say our team, we have a very hardworking staff, and they love the Alder and Tweed culture. And we have a culture of such that, hey, if you're getting your work done and your clients are happy, then, we don't expect you to be in right at 9 or leave right at 5. We kind of have an open culture that allows them to, the freedom to, do their schedule accordingly, as long as the work is getting done and everyone's happy.
Okay. Well, that's good, because you can go into the project just as easily and see if they've got their work done. So, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the thing is, though, that the thing that goes through my mind with these projects, unlike a typical interior design project, which already has an insane number of details, when you start adding, ordering the toothbrushes and the electric toasters and the coffee makers and the linens, that's like an insane amount of details. And so obviously it's at different stages of the project, but when you get to that level, is there some massive questionnaire that says, well, I only like Crest toothpaste and only get me 100% organic cotton linens? Like, how does that part of it work?
Sure. So we have, and we actually don't put that portion, that what we call the home essentials portion, on the designers. We have a person who oversees that process. But what we've done is we've drawn it out into packages. That are all good quality, but they're different levels of quality. We have packages for linens. We have packages for your housewares when it comes to your kitchenwares, and we have packages for bathwares. And so we can, if you go on our website, you can see that, or we can send information over to the client, and they can kind of decide, okay, this best fits our needs. And then we'll say, okay, well, you have this X number of baths and X number of bedrooms. So, a package like this is going to run this amount. And that includes us, laundering the sheets and, dishwashing the glasses and putting it in the drawers and so they, making the beds.
Wow. So what you're saying is that a client will look almost at a menu and say, for my glassware and my this, I only want whatever would be the highest level. I have no idea. And then somebody else might say, well, I'm good with Bed Bath & Beyond level.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're client centric. So, that just kind of, that's a conversation starter. That's jumping off point. But, client may say, hey, I want your mid-level package, but I really, really want the flatware from the higher end package.
Oh, because you'll do that.
We'll make it work. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, because I could see it in that way. I could be like, what, all the silverware and everything is fine, but I have to have the best sheets or the best towels. Like, I could just see people saying that. Like, come on, I don't want that set in there. Okay. So, but the bigger thing is that you have a separate little core team that handles all of that and coordinates that and gets all that ready for after the designers have done their work and put all the furnishing and accessories in place, or simultaneously they can be washing and drying and putting it all into the cabinets and so forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's, that's a big process. I mean, that's a lot of ordering.
I can't even fathom it.
And then, again, all the laundering and, the dishwashing and, everything, it needs to be ready to be used.
Yes.
So, that can be quite a process too.
Definitely. Okay. So the other thing in there that you said that I wanted to talk about a little bit was that you said that when I asked you who goes out to the initial consultation, you said that you guys like an owner to be a part of that it was very important to you that you establish the interaction with the client and set the tone and set the level of quality. So my question is, when I look at your website, I see 14 team members and I don't see the 3 of you. So
Sure.
That's not a mistake, because you can figure out to get a toothbrush in somebody's condo. I'm sure you didn't forget to put your picture on the website. Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, and I think that's been something we've debated back and forth. But when we started this business, we wanted to brand Alder and Tweed. We wanted Alder and Tweed to become kind of a brand name. We didn't really, we weren't really we didn't care about branding ourselves. And I think at the same time is what we found is when clients see that there's owners involved, they automatically they want to be they want to work with the owners, just because, they feel like even though our designers are equally as talented as we are when it comes to design, they feel like they're getting, more of a luxury experience when they're dealing directly with the owners. And so we kind of said, we want to put our designers first. We want to brand Alder and Tweed. And so, our thought process is, hey, we just want to take that off the table. And, whether that's the right way to go or not, it's still an ongoing debate, but that's kind of where we've landed at the moment.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you personally, as the three of you, believe and are involved, but you don't want to give the impression that if they know that the three of you are owners and then they're working with XYZ team, that they've been sent to the second team, to the second fiddle.
Exactly.
So when you what are you saying? Like, so what you're saying is that by going though, then the person who's serious and went from phone call to appointment, then the expectation wasn't set that they would be working with you, but when your involvement is there at the beginning, feels like icing on the cake?
Yeah, and I think at that point, when you're in front of the client, you can have a conversation with them and help them understand that, hey, you've got a really talented designer you're working with. At the same time, I mean, it's not just a designer. You've got a team. Right. You've got that designer. You've got a junior designer who's making sure that everything's going smoothly on the back end. And then you've got us as ownership who are keeping a pulse on the project. When the designer is completing the design presentation to present to you, we're overlooking it and making sure that it, that it meets our caliber of work. And and we're involved in every step of the process. When there's issues, we're helping troubleshoot that. And, so, really the pitch when we're in front of a client, for lack of a better term, is, hey, it's not just one person. You've got a whole team here who's helping you out.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously somebody starting out with a much smaller team, this is not effective. You cannot have, just one junior designer on your website and not the owner if that's your whole team. But the thing is that I think it's the first time, Reed, in a year and a half, almost 2 years of researching interior designers that I've ever come across a design firm that did not talk about the owners. Whether it was one owner or a team of owners, no matter how big the firm. I mean, Joni Vanderslice, she has a firm of 50 people. And she's still on the website, and she explained to us that, if her firm is executing, I don't recall the number, 36 projects a year, she might personally have her hands in, I don't know, I don't remember the numbers, a half a dozen. I don't know what the numbers are. Barclay Butera, the same way. He has a very big company, and his hand is in the projects that he does. He oversees with the others, but, you still, I guess the brand is Barclay Butera in that case, right? You're coming there for that, and then he's got a different obstacle that he has to, display and express to the clients coming in, that you're still going to get the Barclay Butera look, even though I'm not going to be on this project. So you're avoiding that. You're going the other way. You're setting the expectation up a different way so that it's not even there to begin with, that they're feeling second fiddled. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't know if that's the right way to go, but it has worked for us. We haven't had any issues with it. So, whether that's the ultimate answer or not, I don't know, but that's kind of where we're at this point.
Well, you seem to be making great decisions. So, and I have to say, I think it struck me as crazy pants, because I knew you were the owner and I couldn't find any information on you. And I finally had to Google and came up with some remote article on you that you did with some, I don't even remember what it was. And so I was like, what is that about? But when I think about if I was coming to you as a consumer, then I'm not looking at it the same way. Like, I already knew you were the owner and I'm preparing for an interview. And I'm like, how is this guy have this website, this big company? And he's, and of course, I knew about your sisters. And so I was like looking at everybody's name for Lindsay and Heather. I'm like, they're not even there. There's a Lindsay, but she spells it differently. So I knew it wasn't your sister.
Yep. No. And in fact, when we built our website, the website company thought we were crazy.
Yes, I'm sure they did.
And so maybe it is a little nutty,
but it works for you, and that's a principle right there. That's a learning lesson right there, that you don't always have to do it the way everybody else tells you to do it, including me and every single guest that's been on the show. Just because we say it doesn't mean it will be the perfect way for you. I do think that I think for me, just devil's advocate, I think there is a way to put on there that the three of you are the owners and separate yourselves out from the nuts and bolts on the website and really set up that, because I think there is something about a family company. I think there's something about expressing that to potential clients and letting them know that you really are invested in this. I mean, I use that all the time in WindowWorks when I've got somebody that's on the fence and maybe is one of the 4 people in our 30-mile radius that's never heard of us, you know what I mean, after all these years.
Sure.
And I just say all the time, I mean, we're family owned. We're together. We care about this. This is our name. It's not just a business to us. And so that all gets expressed. And so, but look, I'm not questioning you. You clearly have your, game plan and you are running it and it is working. So.
Yeah, no. And I that's the other side of the coin. And it is an open debate for us, but you're right. I mean, that does kind of tell our story.
I would almost even see that I could see that there would be maybe the team page that you have, but maybe a separate page that talks to the whole history of the family. We didn't even go into all this, but that your parents were lighting designers and they were a huge wholesale lighting presence in our country. Sure. And I just quickly go through it. You explained to me that they not only designed their own lighting, but they were wholesalers of lighting, and they were suppliers to everybody from Lowe's all the way to Pottery Barn and Horchow. You explained to me. So I feel like I would almost like to see a page that tells me all that, and I just go, wow, these people really know what they're doing. But I'm not suggesting that it's missing because you're clearly very successful.
You know what? We like the feedback though. Yeah, that's valuable feedback.
Yeah,
so
just interesting. I think because it is such a great story. That's my point. It's like it's such a nice story, and it feels like I think it adds credibility. But I guess that's really the point. You don't need credibility added. You obviously are doing a good thing there. So, all right. So I like that. That's really, 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 really cool. So I have a couple of last questions I'd love to go through with you. So when you think about colleagues listening who might be a little jazzed up about this idea, whether they're small solos or maybe they're a firm that has 3 or 4 designers and junior designers in place and are thinking, why didn't we ever think of this? What would you say? We talked about how to get those leads in the beginning, but just take us back and think about if somebody really said, they had the chance to meet you at a market event and they said, I heard the interview, I'm really thinking about doing it, but what's the biggest thing you would caution me to think about or to prepare for or to take care of before I make this leap into such a niche market of vacation homes? Sure. And turnkey for vacation homes, which is another difference.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think a couple of things come to mind. I think one is you definitely, like with any business, you have to be patient, and you have to be in a position that you can be patient. I think number 2 is and I think I mentioned this, but businesses evolve, and so you've got to be willing to let your business kind of evolve into what it ultimately becomes. And, our business, we've added things over time and we've learned things and it's gotten just to the point that we are now. But, you've got to be willing to maybe look at things from a different light and be willing to maybe challenge the norm per se, and let your business evolve and, let it become what it's going to become. And as we've allowed that to happen, that's kind of how we've seen success in our business.
I like that. So what you're saying is just because your business started out a certain way and you saw the path, is okay to change. It's okay to realize that path has an end and there's a new way to go forward and to not be afraid of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And to go, with eyes open and do your due diligence. Like you said, you have to have the capital to withstand the new growth and the new curve, right?
Sure. And I think if you look at it, I mean, you think about us not having a showroom. I mean, that almost sounds crazy. How do people come in and see and touch and feel the furniture? That's kind of the norm. You have your showroom, people come in, you can sit down with them. And so,
but how do you do that?
Yeah, that's another great question. we just kind of say, hey, you know what? We're going to pull your house together. When you come in, it's going to be beautifully executed and you're going to love it. If there's a piece here or there you don't like, we'll take it back and we'll swap it out. And that seems to overcome that hurdle for us. But
what
again,
do you do when you because I literally just met with a designer yesterday who was literally going into the city with a client so that the client could test drive 2 different chairs to decide on for their family room, the fit and the comfort. So
sure.
What do you just, because you have a high-end clientele, you can stick with well-known brands and names that they probably have used in their primary homes? Like or will you really just say, trust me, and if you hate it, lady, I'll take it out? What am I going to tell you?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
One, we do stick with brands that people know and trust and have used in their homes and are comfortable with. At times we say, hey, just trust me. And if it doesn't work, we're going to make sure you're happy at the end of the day. So we'll swap it out.
Would you suggest that a New York City client go into the D&D building and without you're there in Park City and test run a chair or something that you're suggesting, or you don't like,
A client that's really adamant will do that. Absolutely.
Okay.
There's certain clients who really, really are adamant about sitting in that chair before it gets there. And understandably so. But we'll say, hey, go check out the showroom and, make sure it works for you.
Do you think there's less of that because it's a vacation home and they're not feeling like I'm sitting on this 24/7 for the rest of my life? I mean, on high end, I don't feel like people think that that's not important. But do you have that where people be like, look, it feels good, it looks good, I'm not watching TV in it 7 nights a week?
Yeah, I think in a vacation home and at our level,
latitude.
I think you've got a little bit more latitude. And I think just because of the level that we're at, the type of client we work with, they have probably furnished many, many homes.
Right.
And, maybe, the novelty of furnishing a home is kind of worn off, being involved in every little detail. And
Good
they
point,
more
Reed.
just want a great look at, and they kind of trust us to do it.
Right. Well, I think your point is well made. There's a couple of things at that level is if they, like you said, just, oh my goodness, this is the 50th home I've worked with a designer on just yep. furnish it. But B, there is probably, they could say to you, I really love this particular chair at Cravat Inc. and I use it in every home and just do that one. Or there's the other option that they, like you said, you're doing projects that are in the hundreds of thousands. If one $4,000 chair isn't right, you're probably not crying over that.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're, Park City is a small community.
Make it right.
We're going to make it right. Yeah. And it is a resort town. So, this town is all about service.
Right.
That's people want to come in on their vacation and feel like they're being catered to. And so we have to mirror that. Right. Also in our business.
Well, and I find that to be very true. I know that when I often have conversations with designers that are expressing to me that they are trying to make that jump from the regular level design to the luxury market, I always say to them, you have to take your customer service to that market. Like you cannot, count your pennies on, whatever the drama was and expect to go to that market. That market expects 110% satisfaction. And,
yep.
You just don't stand there and debate over something that, you're just going to have to absorb into your project. Look, I'm the first one about profits. That's the whole point of the podcast. But there are certain things that you just do if you expect to be in swimming with the luxury market. So,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And we find that, obviously numbers are important. They keep the business going and all
mm-hmm.
that. But instead of focusing on numbers, we say, hey, we're going to focus on quality
right.
and client experience. And if we focus on those things, then the numbers will naturally just come.
That's exactly the truth, right?
Yep.
So. Yeah, I like that. That's a very succinct way to say it, Reed. Focus on quality and customer experience, and the numbers come. They do. I absolutely know it. So it was a better way to say it than what I said.
No.
Well, really, really cool. So, okay, so you gave us a little bit of advice for what happens, what to look out for in the challenges. What would you just say? You've said a lot of really positive things about niching into this end of the business. Is there one final thing that you would say to a designer about the good side of it, about what, if somebody's thinking about doing it, instead of like, here's what to be worried about or to be caution of, which having, enough capital to withstand it and so forth. Is there something you would say, this is what I love about doing this market?
I think what if you ask our designers and just us, what we really love is we love, the people that we work with. They're really great to work with, and it's their vacation home. So they're willing to be a little bit more, they're willing to do things a little bit differently and a little bit more unique. And so we have a lot of latitude in doing really fun projects, and they kind of trust us to come up with a look, but it allows us, the latitude to do some really cool things and, really over the top. You'll see on our website, we do these over the top bunk beds that they wouldn't normally do in their primary residence, but, they want something cool and interesting in their vacation home. So they're willing to step outside of the box a little bit.
Right. I like that. It's the truth, because they don't have to look at it every day. And it's sort of wherever you are, if you're in an island vacation home, a ski vacation home, it has a look, it has a feel, and you can sort of just go with it. And it's not like, what am I doing with this island look in the middle of Chicago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's a lot of fun.
And that's cool. And I was going to end it there, but that brought another question to my mind.
Yep.
Because you sort of have the luxury of going and following somebody's, not whim more, but have a more creative outlet for the design and more creative risks for the design. Do you find that, again, of course, because we're dealing with clientele with a lot of disposable income, but do you find that they will tend to redesign more often? Or you guys are only in business about 7 years, so you probably haven't hit that curve yet. Right about now, I would say you would have loyal customers
Sure.
that would be starting to say, hey, we have to freshen up. Will you do that? Or you're just sort of like, you're not our people anymore? I can't.
No,
yeah.
we will definitely. We'll definitely help them freshen up. And, what we find is a lot of people, when they come into the Park City market, they kind of are just testing the waters and they maybe get a condo and we'll help them out with that condo. And then they realize how much they love Park City and they say, hey, we want to get a house now. And so they'll go buy something different. And so we're finding clients who are maybe, buying a little bit larger place and they want to come in and refurnish that. And so, we're definitely at that point in the cycle where we're starting to see repeat business.
Right. Okay. That's any, repeat for, like you said, going to a bigger location, a bigger home, but also because usually especially in the luxury market, usually about 7 years, it's sort of time to redo everything.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
I have found that with Window Works, the clients that I have that have more disposable income, it's usually the 7 to 10 year mark on the outside that they'll say, it's time to do this bedroom over again, or it's time to do this living room over again. And then the lower level market, they might go 15 years, you know what I mean? But the disposable income market, it's usually about 7. It's like, I can't look at this anymore. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. How could you possibly? Let's rip it out.
Well, it's crazy how looks change.
They do. They do.
I think they're changing quicker now than they ever did before.
Yeah. Well, and the point is that all of us would love to always live in the newest, latest thing, but it's only at a certain level of income that you can execute that, so that's cool. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. I think it's so cool. You just literally proved the number one, I think, has to be the message of the podcast in 18 months at this point is niching your business, no matter what the niche is a great path to building a successful interior design firm. And this certainly is extremely niched.
Yeah.
So it's terrific. I really thank you so much for sharing all this with us. I think that it's, really, it's fun to learn about the back end of this. And I'm very grateful that you shared the real parts of it and not just glossing over and were okay with me digging a little deeper there on some of those points, Reed. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I really appreciate you having me on, and I really enjoy listening to your podcast. It's good to hear what other people in the industry are doing. And, again, it goes back to challenging the norm. We get to hear what others are doing and how others are challenging the norm, and we get to see how we can apply that maybe to our business.
Well,
so it's really
great.
helpful.
Thank you. My great thanks to the featured sponsor of our podcast, Cravat Inc. Of all the terrific things about Cravat, do you know about CuratedCravat.com? I know you've heard me tell you all about it for this last year and a half, but have you taken a minute to really go and look and check out CuratedCravat.com yet? You have to see this collection of the most unique, high-quality finished products for the home. The collection includes furniture, lighting, bedding, rugs, accessories, and more. It is so comprehensive. It features customized designs as well as unique hand-picked pieces from the global design market. CuratedCravat.com is available exclusively to the trade. That's right. No direct consumer purchasing. They have your back at Cravat Inc. And have you checked out the innovative ready-to-ship upholstery program? This is groundbreaking in our industry. Where else can you find someone that delivers custom quality furniture fast? I'll tell you where else. Nowhere else. You see, it's the combination custom quality and fast. That is at CuratedCravat.com. You can shop the site by product category, by stylized product stories, and through the curated rooms designed by the industry tastemakers. At CuratedCravat.com, they are committed to making your job more efficient by providing unmatched customer service coupled with an exceptional product offering. Cravat Inc. stands firm in their mission to serve the interior design trade at the very highest level. And the last and one of the most fabulous features is the process is so simple. That's right. Design, click, delivered. Easy as that. One last thing. Cravat Inc. has a thank you to you as a listener of the podcast. If you are on the site and you are ready to make a purchase, any one purchase, you can get 10% off as their thanks to you. Enter the code CKPodcast at checkout for 10% off any one purchase. Well, I do thank them very much, and I really do hope that you will take a moment to see how CuratedCravat.com can help you run your business more efficiently. So, I often have these words that come to mind after I meet people and I talk with them, right? And I share them with you. So here are some of the words that come to mind for Reed. Open, humble, skilled leader, genuine, and strategic. And of all of these qualities, they're all very important to be an effective president of your company. But which one can you not succeed without? The one that you must really have. It's strategic, isn't it? Yes. If you're not willing to look at your business with open eyes and make decisions based on the reality that you're facing in your business at that moment and not based on what you want or what you dream for, then you're going to have a difficult time staying in business and even more trouble being profitable. So how did Reed put it? He said, great companies make bold moves. I love that line. I mean, I wrote it down the second he said it. Truly. So it takes not pretending that things will be okay. It takes taking a realistic evaluation of your situation and then making a bold move in a new direction if that's what is called for, right? It takes guts, but it is what it means and how it means to be successful, to be willing to do that. So, and what are the other things that contributed to the success of Alder and Tweed? Well, first, obviously, is their bold move itself, right? They reinvented their ideal client and moved their location to be near that client. Second, they did old school, boots on the ground marketing. They went out, they met realtors, they hosted open house events for these realtors, they went to networking events, they worked their community where their ideal client is found. So they didn't sit around and say, nobody knows where I am. They went to find everybody, okay? It's old school. We all get stuck sitting on our computer and doing Facebook and Instagram and all these other things, which, have value and have their place. But don't ever overlook the getting out and the being in front of people. That's where the connections are made, okay? And then next is that they did a very important and a thoughtful analysis of what were the unique problems that were faced by an out-of-town homeowner who was coming into Park City and attempting to build, design, and outfit a vacation home from a distance. Okay, it's a very particular set of dilemmas, right? And so once they made this very specific list, then they developed their business model to address this list of problems. They solve the problems that their client base needs solved. And when they did that, just like if you did that in your business, then what happens is your client base grows and your reputation grows because you solve people's problems. That's number one thing. I mean, it's just the most basic thing in business, isn't it? Okay, so you need to be very clear on who you serve, how you serve them, and then find where they are. And then as Reed said, the last and final thing that you need to be very clear on is to be patient while your business builds, because in the beginning, it can take some time. It's not all fun and games and roses right in the beginning, right? And he said that it would be a good idea to make sure you have the capital to fund the growth of your business. Now, one thing we didn't touch on at all, because it sort of got to be a little bit long in the interview, but I would have liked to have talked about it, but we didn't. But here's the thing. You may have been thinking, don't I know Alder and Tweed as a wholesale furniture company? And the answer is yes, you do. Reed and his sisters are the owners of the interior design firm, but they are also vested in the other company, which in fact is a furniture wholesaler. So their brother, another brother, runs that particular company. So you might have been to their showroom at High Point, or you might already have an account with them. But if not, check them out. It's Alder and Tweed Furniture.com. All right. So there are two companies, the furniture company and the interior design firm, and they're all owned by the family, but they're run separately. All righty. Okay, upcoming events. So the first one is the one that is happening today. If you happen to be listening to this the day this show airs, it airs on Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. And today from 2 o'clock to 5 p.m., I'm going to be at the brand new Kravitz showroom at the D&D building in New York City on the 12th floor. And we are going to be interviewing live there. First, I'll be interviewing Scott Kravitz, probably some of the showroom personnel. And of course, I would love to interview some of you interior designers about your impressions of this new showroom. So if you're in the area, please stop by between 2 and 5 p.m. Now, if you are not in the area, if you are listening to us from all parts all over the world, have no fear. You can join in because we are going to be doing a Facebook flash mob. Right. So at 2 o'clock p.m., log into Facebook, have previously liked the Luann Nigara page, okay, on Facebook, and then set a reminder for, you know how you can say set reminder for when this page goes live. So set a reminder for when we go live, and then sometime between 2 and 2:30, we're going to get rolling. And when we go live, join in with us, share it out to your network of people. Let's get a whole flash mob going. And you can watch all the things that are happening. You can watch the interview with Scott Kravitz. You can watch the interviews with the designer. You can text in your questions for us. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Ian Q from House Digital is going to be manning the camera as always. And then Tastefully Inspired, Mark McDonough, is also going to be sharing the feed live. So head over to his site, Tastefully Inspired, like his page. Head over to WindowWorks, like our page, and head over to Luann Nigara and like that page as well. This way, and set a reminder for each of them when we go live, so that one way, come heck or high water, you will know that we are live and you can join the flash mob, okay? So again, that's happening live, real time, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. And of course, if you're catching this podcast episode after the fact, you could watch the live Facebook video either on our YouTube channel, A Well-Designed Business, or on our Facebook channel. Okay? Then upcoming, we have Design Uncorked, How to Grow from Design Firm to Design Empire. This is going to be a live interview with me and Kelly Ellis. Of course, I'm interviewing. She's the interviewee. And we are going to be having this at the Kravitz showroom at Las Vegas Market on Tuesday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. So if you're going to Vegas Market, please be sure to come over and join us. You know, with Kelly, that's going to be so much fun. Now, one other thing I want to tell you, last week we had our debut blog post by our guest blogger, Kelsey Gross of Farmer's Daughter Interiors. And wait till you get a load of this blog post. This is the title: How I Landed a Full Kitchen Project with No Portfolio. So I'm just saying, how many times have you guys reached out to me and said, how do I get projects when I don't have a portfolio? And Kelsey actually got a full kitchen project, and she goes all through it in the blog post. So head over to www.windowworks-nj.com, go over to the trade tab, and then click on a well-designed business blog. And that's at www.windowworks-nj.com, and you'll get to see that blog post, okay? And if you want to be on our mailing list, don't forget, all you have to do is text this number, 444-999. When the field opens, put in Design Biz, DESIGNBIZ. It'll bring you to one simple screen. You'll put your email in, and you'll be all set. You'll get our email every Wednesday telling you the guests that are on the show and any events that I'm going to be at, or any events that our sponsors are having, and any particular special news like this particular blog post of Kelsey's, which I think is really pretty fabulous. All righty, so thank you so much for joining me. In the last couple of weeks, several of you have taken the time to leave iTunes reviews, and I just want to say thank you. I really do appreciate it. If you are sitting out there and you have yet to do it, I'd sure love it if you did. Just take a moment and go over to iTunes and rate and review the show. It'd be awesome. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.